And they're off.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
And the dogs are off too.
Yeah.
Right along, little doggy?
No.
Sorry.
I don't play ball.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 102. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
Welcome to the show. How's everyone's week going? Rhett, how's your week going?
My week is going great.
Excellent.
Yesterday was leg day at the gym, and I'm paying for it. So
Well, you're sitting down here, so.
yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
Little, can you guys tell? This is actually my wheelchair for the rest of my life. Just like, just gonna wheel around forever.
Gonna just Professor Exit from now on?
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
You can call me Scooter. No, that's horrible.
Wheels and the leg man. Hey, you're both. Oh, welcome to the show. Thank you all for joining us this fine Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, depending on where you're at. If you've never seen the show before, we talk about beer on the show. We talk about tech on the show. We start out with about 20 minutes of tech and alcohol-related news. We move on to about an hour, a little bit more of tech news for the week. The last end of the show is random musings. It's games, entertainment, pop culture, things that are interesting us, and it often devolves into Star Trek talk. We do drink alcohol on the show. However, this is an all ages show. We try to keep the swearing to an absolute minimum, and content as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. What are we drinking on the show today?
Well, I don't know what you brought. I mean, I can see that your Ninkasi there, which I'm excited about.
Have you never had this one?
I have had that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Actually, I've had everything here.
Okay.
So I don't know why I'm acting all...
And so have I.
And I couldn't see the label on this, but then I remembered what you told me it was.
Yeah.
All great beers. We got a Frime Lambic. We've got the Black Butte Porter from Deschutes Brewing, and we've got the Prismatic Juicy IPA from Ninkasi Brewing.
Yep, going all Oregon today.
Yep.
Not really planned. I was walking through the store yesterday, and it shocked me. We've never actually had the Black Butte Porter on the show before. I checked my notes.
Okay.
I checked my notes. We've never had Black Butte Porter.
But we've had Deschutes on the show.
We've had Deschutes on the show. We've had one of their IPAs, and we've had a couple of their weird ones.
I brought a seasonal one, so it was like a summer or spring seasonal.
Yeah, we've had the... Gosh, what is that? The... Summer Lovers. They have some kind of seasonal IPA. That's a pretty good beer.
But Black Butte Porter is like a staple.
It is a staple. And when people ask us what's my gateway into dark beers, our answer is always Black Butte Porter, and we've never had it on the show. So now we're having it on the show.
Excellent.
What do you feel like starting with?
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. You know what? Let's go Prismatic. And then maybe the Lambic, and then finally we'll wrap up with the Porter.
Let's do it. And let the English see us do it.
That's right.
I'm glad I let Jeff choose, because he's got the refined palate insured for $500,000. There we go.
You've never seen these glasses before, have you?
These
These are very popular with John over at Hops and Brews. They're actually a proper tasting glass. They're made to be 12 ounce. It's a 14-ounce glass, so you can get a nice 12-ounce pour with a good head on it. They're laser etched in the bottom for nucleation sites to keep the aromatics coming, and so the head should actually never die or truly die in these.
The head should never die.
The head should never die.
Arigato.
But let's go and start with the Prismatic Juicy IPA from Ninkasi. It is a 5.9%, 36 IBU. You really just...
Please don't anybody judge me. That's on camera. That's what's embarrassing.
That is on camera.
Oh well, I'm just gonna move on with my life.
There we go.
Oh.
So I managed a good pour.
Well, I wasn't used to pouring it
as
into this glass.
usual.
But look, the head never dies.
That's
so
right.
Even my weak pour.
What is dead will never die.
The darkest night and full of terrors. The darkest night. You're welcome for that one.
The darkest night. The night is dark and full of terrors.
Well, oh well. It's happened now.
Solid beer. One of my favorites from Ninkasi. This and their the Tricerahops is really good. Dawn of the Red is really good.
Yeah, Ninkasi is solid.
Mm-hmm.
And Ninkasi's in our news tonight, isn't it, too?
So 12 something QWERTY in the chat. IPA is gross, tastes like pine cone. Try Prismatic Juicy IPA.
You know what, though?
There's no piney taste to this at all.
What's funny, though, is I actually... I always hated IPAs because of the overly hop flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But as IPAs have matured in the craft beer scene, a lot of them have developed that piney taste, and that brought me back into the fold. I love the piney taste.
Yeah. See, I love the taste of hops. I absolutely love them. But... and there's nothing wrong with preferring malty beers, but don't discount the IPA just because it's an IPA or just because everyone wants to drink IPAs.
Yeah.
Give it a whirl. Give some different styles of IPAs a whirl because it's one of the most varied styles of beer out there.
You got some sediment in here?
Yeah, little floaties.
I'm digging that, dude. It's like pulp.
A little bit of orange pulp in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit in this glass.
In Japan, any drink that has pulp could vary from pulp like this to like literal crunchies in your drink that you have to like chew through. Oof. It's kind of fun, but you're really rolling the dice when you're getting something with pulp.
Yeah. I don't want a beer that already has kidney stones in it.
Right.
That just doesn't sound appetizing. Speaking of not appetizing, the seltzer craze is not going away anytime soon.
That's fun by me.
Yeah. Some people like it, some people don't. I get what they're doing. I totally get what they're doing. It's certainly not my favorite thing, but I could see why it's popular.
Sure.
So Corona, not to be outdone, is unveiling their own hard seltzer. And it will be on store shelves in March. So, true to Corona form, they're coming out with a whole bunch of different flavors. You've got your coconut, your lime, your lemon, your pineapple, the list goes on and on. They are going to be aiming this at the light beer market. So they're trying to basically compete with the Bud Light, the Coors Light, and obviously the White Claws and the Trulies of the world.
Oh.
So this is owned by Constellation Brands. Corona is a sub-brand of Constellation, which owns a number of different breweries, including Ballast Point. I actually didn't realize Ballast Point was in that family. Yeah, but yeah.
I like Ballast Point.
Yeah, solid beers. The Ballast Point, Funky Butte, and Four Corners are all Constellation brands.
Nice.
So, where's it at? Here we go. Corona Hard Seltzer line will come in 4 flavors: tropical lime, mango, cherry, and blackberry lime. Sorry, I don't know why I said coconut in there. But it will check in at 90 calories, 4.5% ABV, and 0 grams of carbs and sugar. So they're coming in slightly below White Claw at 100 calories and 5% ABV, which also has 2 grams of sugar and 2 grams of carbs. Very similar to Trulies. So.
Perfect.
So, trying to be like the healthy beer alternative, Corona,
Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like everybody jumping into the seltzer market is kind of like not news.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see, I'm glad to see Corona jumping in, I guess. Like,
yeah.
I'm not a big fan, but on a hot day or if somebody else is bringing the booze, whatever, I'm fine to drink them. They're tasty. They're not like, you know what I mean? It's not really like a beer where you run the risk of not thinking it tastes good. Mm-hmm. Like, it always tastes good. It just might not be necessarily what you're after or like...
I can
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah.
On a hot day, I still like Mike's Hard Lemonades and things like that from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's not my go-to, no. and
but that's okay.
They're a little syrupy sweet at this point. It's like years of drinking seltzer or non-sweetened drinks, and then you go straight back into like a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
It's that syrupy sweet.
Really hits you.
That's kind of what I get on some of the Mike's Hard Lemonades. But
yeah, and I think that's where the seltzer sort of fits in, because like Mike's Hard is good. It tastes good. Nobody would doubt that. But
and yeah, Becky, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said coconut, and sorry if I got your husband all excited.
Oh, no.
She goes, oh, my husband was really excited about the coconut. And then, did you just say coconut to torture my hubby? Yeah, sorry.
You're welcome, Becky. We are the torturers of YouTube.
Yep.
But anyway, Cool news.
Yeah.
Will you guys drink Corona Seltzer? Chime in the chat.
I think I'd give it a shot.
I would too.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Again,
Don't know that I'm going to go out and buy a 12-pack, but if it's available at a barbecue, like you said, something like that.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, I know
totally
these
down.
are kind of aiming more at the lighter market thing, but some of these seltzers, they pack as much of a wallop as a real beer. So it just depends on what you want. Hopefully more options is better for the market.
That's right. And speaking of a wallop delivered by a beer, so we talked about this last week.
Made the cut.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week. Sam Adams' Utopia was announced that it is returning for its 25th consecutive year. And this year is even more special because for the first time ever, you can get it on tap.
Boom.
28%, up to 25-year barrel-aged beer. Oh my god. Now, it is only going to be available at a special event in their Cincinnati tap room. Now, their Cincinnati tap room is across the street from Boston Brewery, where Utopia is born.
Yeah.
It's where they keep all the barrels for that. It's where they do all their aging and mixing. Tickets to the event are $20 and include a 1-ounce pour of the beer. As well as a collector's glass. The celebration with live music, a food truck, and specialty beer starts at 6 p.m. And this is going to be on October 15th. So if you happen to be in the Cincinnati area and you would like to try Sam Adams' Utopia on draft.
That was yesterday.
God, John!
So hopefully if you
were in the Cincinnati area yesterday and you tried this, chime in below.
Yes, there we go. Oh, man.
John!
That's funny. I totally missed the date.
Adding old news to the... I mean, it was only yesterday, so I guess it's currently in the week, but...
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, sorry to get your hopes up if you lived in Cincinnati and wanted to try Utopia on draft.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Because you can't.
Unless you know somebody who saved their 1-ounce pour.
That's right.
In their collector's glass. Or maybe
I'll add it to my little aging barrel right up there.
There you go. Yum. Or maybe they put it into their mouth to taste it. Now they're like mama birding it, waiting for somebody willing to spend the money to just get a little right into their own mouth.
Yeah. Che says, holy moly, 28%. How is that so-called beer? Incidentally, you can't buy it in Oregon because it's too high of an ABV for beer.
Yeah.
They cap us off at, what, 25? 22? Something like that?
Is it that high? I thought it was lower.
No, you can buy mead up into the low 20s. I do know that.
Yeah, and I've
seen that on
barley
store
wine
shelves.
stuff is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is too high of a beer for store shelves. So.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I am genuinely thinking about this year buying a Utopia beer. I'm genuinely thinking about it.
Yeah?
Yep. Maybe if I'm able to buy a house this year, we'll crack one of those open for the inaugural show.
Sounds good to me.
Could be fun.
John and Steve aren't invited.
That's right. So we mentioned Ninkasi, talked quite a bit about them. Ninkasi made some news, 6 or 8 months ago, because they sold out to a conglomerate. Now, I disagree with the sellout term. However, whatever you want to think about Ninkasi no longer being their own company, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
But the group that they bought into is called Legacy Breweries. And Ninkasi is actually one of the chair members on the Legacy Brewery conglomerate. They're one of the largest stakeholders in it. Basically what they're doing is rather than having Anheuser-Busch or Miller Coors or Corona or Constellation brands buy up all of the craft breweries and just try to get them into rank and file, and you're going to mass produce these 4 beers and not have any creativity anymore. Legacy Brewing is trying to just expand the potential of a craft brewery and get a larger footprint and larger distribution network. Using the resources of a larger entity. And Laurelwood Brewing up in Portland is actually the latest acquisition for Legacy Brewers. Kind of big news because Laurelwood's definitely had its share of ups and downs. They've opened a number of different tap houses and brew pubs and things like that. And some of them have done really well. I think they have one up in Sandy. And some of them have not done so well. They opened one in Battleground, Washington. They opened one in the airport. The one in the airport is due to close in November.
Yeah.
Sellwood, sorry.
Yeah, the Selwood one is just I was there just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and it just recently closed.
Yeah, it made me laugh kind of. I was like, did I close this place?
But anyway, the goal of this is not to basically absorb Laurelwood into a larger beer conglomerate, but rather to give Laurelwood a wider distribution network. And as part of that, Ninkasi is actually going to be taking ownership of the Laurelwood brand and then distributing it with Ninkasi beers. So this is actually a really good thing if you're Ninkasi or if you're Laurelwood.
Yeah.
This gets you the capital to keep going. This gets you a wider distribution network, a larger footprint, larger audience, and potentially lets you be more creative, not less, because you're owned by a creative beer company. So not the worst thing in the world, I think.
No. Good for them. That's cool. I mean, yeah, kind of a grassroots way of resisting big beer, and we'll see what happens. Laurelwood made some okay beers, and they get to kind of stick around this way, then I'm all for it. Let's see what happens.
Totally. Like I said, I don't see this as evil or something like that. I see this as a group that is trying to widen the footprint of craft breweries, not absorb them so they are eating up their profit margin. Right. And just sending it up the chain to Anheuser-Busch or Miller Coors or someone like that. So I see this as a completely different instance. And not that all the Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors acquisitions have been inherently evil. I mean, you've got Elysian, which still pumps out quality beers. You've got Lagunitas, which is owned. They still do their Waldo series and a bunch of other really bizarre off-the-wall things. And there's a number of breweries out there. Ballast Point produces great beers and still gets to be very creative. They just can offer it to a larger market.
Yeah.
So not all beer acquisitions are evil. Only some of them.
There are some out there.
There are some that probably shouldn't have happened. Viking's Blood in Norway is a Nordic honey wine with hibiscus and hops added. Yes. I was going, who's talking about Viking's Blood? Oh, it's John. It's Hops and Brews.
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah. Viking's Blood. Did you get to try that when John had that?
No.
Oh, God.
I don't think so.
Yeah. He has the bottle still up on his cooler. Next time you're there, just crack one open and smell the bottle. It's a 22% mead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's good.
Nice.
They make a mead, they make a barley wine, or a couple different barley wines. I think the Viking's Blood is a mead, but super high proof.
Yeah, he had a couple meads on tap at the tap room before. I can't remember what they were though. I had to save my life.
Yeah. And last but not least, in the beer news, we've got a more compostable and better for the environment beer bottle. This hasn't really been tried before. We've seen the cardboard 6-pack holders and things like that.
The ones that feed fish.
Right, the ones that are made out of food. But this one is actually a cardboard bottle. It's capped just like a standard bottle. And it's definitely an interesting look. This is out of Copenhagen, Denmark. Carlsberg Brewery says it is developing a paper beer bottle made from sustainably sourced wood fibers. The prototype that you see here actually does have some plastic polymers on the inside to prevent the beer from leaching through the cardboard.
Yeah.
But they are working on developing one that doesn't require any kind of polymers or anything like that. And actually, they're going into partnership with Coca-Cola, Absolute Vodka, and L'Oreal Cosmetics to produce sustainably sourced and compostable packaging. I think that's a solid idea.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, glass is probably the best thing to transport it in because it's the most neutral thing you can.
Sure. Aluminum is infinitely recyclable.
Right. I mean, the cans are infinitely recyclable, but there is actually a plastic liner inside of cans. Most people don't know that.
That's true.
And so, You're less likely to get leaching from this. The only time you'll get leaching is on the very top. Is there's no liner on the top, but it is around all the sides and the bottom. So cans are less susceptible to light, but you can get some leaching from some metals. Glass is probably the best container thus far, but honestly, if they can come up with a biodegradable material that can sustainably store beer, sure.
Yeah, why not? This is a great way of doing it. I think paper's a good start. It's funny because I saw this. Some people were talking about this story this morning, and people are like, oh, they're just throwing around buzzwords to get the hipster beer market cornered, like sustainable and blah blah blah. I was like, shut up. Literally, this project takes nothing away from the world. Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
Your problem is that they're using buzzwords to capture a certain market. Well, okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a cool idea. Where's your argument against that?
Yeah, no, there was a post yesterday. I'm not going to get too political, but there was a post sometime it wasn't yesterday, but sometime last week, that so-and-so politician was threatening to ban cigarettes, and so I just bought my first pack in 20 years. Suck it, libtards. I'm like, yeah, enjoy your cancer.
Oh, you got them.
You got them. Man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those people that went out and destroyed their Yeti coolers and stuff. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You real stuck it to them.
Nick Card says, going to be 21 in a few months. Any suggestions on a first beer? Deschutes Black Butte Porter.
Yeah, I think that was one of my first real beers.
It certainly was one of mine. Yeah, solid option. I wouldn't go straight for like the dinkiest hops or like the super dark stouts or something like that. If you go towards the porters and stouts, try to keep somewhere around the 5 to 9%. Don't go super dark or super rich, because then you get flavors that are overly complex, and honestly, if you're not used to them, will be a little bit off-putting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like coffee. It is an acquired taste to a certain extent, especially when you get darker and more up the chain.
I'm sure that when Nick Cards puts first in quotation marks, that he probably drinks plenty of beer, but first beer that he can go and buy from the craft section himself. Yeah, in case it really is his first beer, I always tell people it's like beer is an acquired taste, so like start with what tastes good, you know?
Right.
Like I think Black Butte Porter was definitely one of my first, but I don't know if I liked it right away. I didn't really like or understand dark beers until a little later. I think the first beer that I got into was honestly like the Widmer, like Hefeweizen, or...
Yeah, I got into Hefs first and foremost. Yeah. The Widmer Hef, even the Blue Moon.
Yeah, and because I think the Hefeweizen was really like one of the first like craft beers to like really... to really grab hold.
Yep.
You know, because I remember everybody talking about, have you had a Hefeweizen? Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. Widmer makes it. It's really good. A Hefeweizen. Yeah, it's a German beer. Really German. I guess they make it out of wheat.
It's a novel concept, wheat.
Not like rice.
Yeah, if you want to go off the wall for a first beer, if you like coffee, you can go for a stout, or actually go, someone else was suggesting a Rogue up there. The Dead Guy Ale is a good one to go with, but try a Rogue Cold Brew.
Yeah.
Which is a cold brew IPA. They basically make an IPA with coffee, and so you get some of those very familiar coffee notes, if you're a coffee fan, and kind of introduces you to kind of the fresh hop IPA kind of thing. So... some different options. Yeah. There's thousands of different options, and that's why this hobby's kind of cool.
Yeah, you're right. What a positive spin on it.
That's what I'm here for.
We're doing it. We're making the world a better place.
That's right. All right, end of beer news. We are, 24 minutes in? Something like that? Yeah, 24 minutes.
By the way, somebody seems to think I deserve a tick on the rant counter for one of those. I don't think I quite got it.
That wasn't a rant counter.
I think they thought maybe I was getting close.
Yeah, you were ramping up, but you weren't quite there.
I tapered off, okay? I just finished the first beer.
You'll know when he deserves a tick mark. Just to be clear. All right.
This is big news.
This is big news. This is big news if true, because
I kind of hope it is true. How horrible of me.
So... this was broken on hardwarelux.com, which is a German hardware website. And very much like Extreme Tech and a couple of the other publications that picked this up, take this with a grain of salt, but we wouldn't be talking about it if we thought there might be some truth to the rumor.
Yeah.
They literally have that exact bullet point at the top, and that's exactly what crossed my mind when I was reading the translated version of the original article on Hardware Lux. So according to German website Hardware Lux, Intel is canceling all 10 nanometer desktop parts. Now, that is not server parts. That may not even be the high-end workstation parts. Although I would assume high-end workstation is included in that. So we will see some Xeon 10 nanometer, and we will see the 15-watt Ultra Mobile 10 nanometer, but we will not see any desktop parts. The reason for that is they couldn't get the clock speeds high enough to make it worth the transition from 14 to 10. And we've kind of seen that with the release of the Ice Lake mobile chips, which are 10 nanometer. But we noticed that the base clocks have been reduced from 2.2 down to like 1.6 and 1.4 gigahertz for the i7s. Now, the drop to 10 nanometer has meant there's an IPC improvement, there's some latency improvement, and so they're releasing 10 nanometer at the same wattage and with roughly the same performance as the predecessors. But there's really no benefit to Intel going 10 nanometer with their mobile chips. You can't have a 10 nanometer release if you're Intel and flatline, or even worse, drop down. And that's what it sounds like would probably happen if they released a 10 nanometer desktop chip. And someone says, apparently Intel is 3 years behind in their lithography. I think they're actually closer to 5. Because 14 nanometer was only supposed to get 1+. We've got like 6. And it's not even close.
Yeah.
And the current estimates say Meteor Lake 7 nanometer isn't coming until 2022. So we are still a legit 2.5 years away from seeing a 7 nanometer release on any platform from Intel.
I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I just don't see how, if they're canceling their 10 nanometer that was supposed to be released in 2022. I mean, who knows?
Well, their 10 nanometer they said was going to be coming late 2021 to the desktop. That was Tiger Lake. And then there was also an Alder Lake revision, which was 10 nanometer plus, supposed to be coming in 2022.
Gotcha.
So what they've done is they've taken Meteor Lake from 2023. Actually, sorry, Meteor Lake was not even on their roadmap. Meteor Lake is a new architecture that's going to be using 7 nanometer. And so Meteor Lake is the new chip, and they're bumping that up from their 7 nanometer schedule, which I believe was 2023. It is now going to be 2022.
I guess it's possible if they're devoting all the resources to getting that done, but it kind of feels like a move to buy time, to like a Hail Mary move.
Honestly, it feels like a concession.
Yeah.
That we're not going to get this done. Is what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a buying time. I think this is the core architecture is dead as we knew it, because it started with Nehalem with the X58 in late 2008. And then Nehalem got a little bit of a bump with Westmere in 2011, along with the introduction of Sandy Bridge, which was generation 2 of the desktop core. So basically their third revision of the X58 chip. And basically we've been refining Sandy Bridge ever since. Is once we finally got everything they wanted into it, and off of, what was that, a 28 millimeter die or something like that, on the X58, they've been slowly just refining that down. But since the 4th generation, we've been stuck on 14 nanometer. And Intel said 5 years ago, well, tick-tock is dead. Tick would be, we shrink the platform, shrink the die size, and then tock is we refine it. That's the plus. And then we tick again where we shrink the die again, and then we refine it on the next generation. So it was supposed to be a biannual cycle where every 2 years there's a die shrink, and every 2 years there's an architecture improvement. For some reason, tick-tock only died with 14 nanometer. And it's because they couldn't shrink it anymore. Yeah. But, Intel is not in a good spot. No. They are absolutely not in a good spot. And the writing's been on the wall for quite a while. It was a matter of whether or not AMD is going to go for the jugular. And by all reports, AMD is going for the jugular. Mm-hmm. And they're kicking Intel in the nuts to go with it. Yeah. It is... it is not pretty what AMD is going to be doing to Intel's market share over the next couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't help. Wasn't Intel, didn't they have like a huge lawsuit payout that they have to do now too for like pay discrimination? Was that Intel? Don't quote me on that.
It might have been.
I'm on a news show right now and I'm just like throwing out like hearsay rumors. I thought I heard something, and it wasn't just Intel, it was maybe a couple big tech companies. Turns out that they were discriminatory in their pay. And I think that it's like a several $billion payout in back pay. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody...
Why are you auto-tuning yourself?
Why not? Auto-tune the news. You guys remember those guys?
That takes me back.
Dude, yeah, what was the one... Yo, you better hide your wife, hide your kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Oh Lord, there's a fire. Oh Lord, there's a fire.
Ripping everybody out here. You don't have to come and confess. We come for you. We gonna find you. We gonna find you so you can run and tell that homeboy. Home, boy.
What does the show become?
I know, sorry. I'm just like butchering everything.
Oh, man.
Yo, before we get too far, though.
Yes. Let's get into the next beer.
This will get us back on track.
Yes. What's a way to get a show back on the rails? Open another beer. So, this one is from Freem. It is their Lambic Blueberry?
Yes.
Yes. I thought that's what you brought. I don't remember the ABV. Do you remember it offhand?
It's like, I don't know, 5.5 or something?
Yeah, I didn't think it was all that high.
Sorry, I made your desk all wet. Look at right. Nope,
what the heck?
What can I say? Oh, it's not that.
Yeah, that's just what came up with the search results.
God, you know the worst thing is that I wrote it down, but...
There you go.
You on the left. Why do you look familiar? I don't know, Jeff.
Me?
Technically, I'm on the left of what they're watching, but...
I don't know. Oh, yeah, Rhett's on the left. Yeah. You? I don't know why he looks familiar.
Got one of those faces, bro.
Maybe you've seen him on Game Dev's Quest or Twitter or...
Maybe you saw me on America's Most Wanted.
That's right. Or one of your mini game jams that you've done.
That's right.
Your one mechanic game jams.
That's right. Or maybe you've seen me as the star of Chaotic Amateurs, as Duroc Dragonsbane, America's #1 D&D podcast.
There you go. That's right. Forgot about that. Although they wouldn't have seen you.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why he looks familiar, because he hasn't had a lot of camera time before he joined here.
That's true.
So.
That's true. I'm on the other end of the camera.
Definitely a face for podcasts.
That's what my mom keeps saying.
That's right.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, buddy. So, Freem Lambic Blueberry something. There was more to the name. But
Bose Bisson Blueberry Lambic. Bosbisson? Bosbisson. Here. She wrote it on the top.
Bosbisson. Yeah. It's a 6%. 6.0, 6 IBU.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
It's I got it because it's
very tart.
Lambics tend to be tart, soury beers, and
sour without being like kettle sour.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the Capital Tap Room, Hops and Brews Old Tap Room, was how often they had sours on tap, and they were all so good. And I learned to love me a lambic. Yeah. In fact, my first lambic was there. I wish I could remember what it was, though, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's tart. Not really blueberry-y.
Yeah, not a real strong blueberry.
It's good. It's got a kind of a soury curve on it. Mm-hmm. Or not a soury curve, because it tastes sour and tart, but like it's got that bitter kind of bitter, like those German style, like, oh god, I can't even string a sentence together tonight. What is happening to me? Wait, what was in that beer, Jeff?
I have no idea. Anyway, so getting into a little bit of AMD news, because they're certainly making some waves, and this one's actually AsRock. AsRock Rack, as their server and workstation division is known, has finally released some epic D8 and D8 2T boards. So these will be for the EPYC 7002, otherwise known as Rome EPYC CPUs, using the SP3 chip and 8 channels of memory. They announced some new motherboards, and holy crap, I want this. It is the only sub $500 Rome supported motherboard, and so it will come in at under $500. There are 4 X16 PCI Express 4.0 slots. There are 3 X8 PCI Express 4.0 slots. Or, excuse me, X8. I was right. Dual NVMe PCIe 4.0 slots, as well as all 8 channels of memory present on this board. Holy crap. So if you want to talk like a video editing beast of a machine, holy crap, I want this board. I want this board and a 7742 or whatever that 64-core chip is. Or the 7H42, their beastly overclock 2.81. Good God. Yeah.
Couple super chats, we can make it happen.
Yeah, by the way, this is pretty much what's coming to Threadripper. This is absolutely insane. This also has 8 or 9 SATA ports on it, something like that. 9 SATA ports in total, using breakout ports that are up there. So using the UHS SAS style connector. Dual gigabit LAN plus a dedicated lights out card on board, and $500 for this board. And what you could put into this board, being 64 cores and 512 gigabytes of memory. Actually, I think up to a terabyte of memory is what this will support. Yeah, holy crap. It's really not much more to say about that than holy crap. And kind of suck at Intel, because, yeah, you really don't have anything to compete.
No.
Someone said Dang was hoping for some ITX with 10 gigabit. I think 10 gigabit is going to be slowly rolling out, although 10 gigabit is still kind of expensive, especially on the RJ45 side of things. You can get more inexpensive connectors using SFP+, but a lot of people on the consumer market don't want to use SFP+, because it's a little bit more complicated. It's not necessarily plug and play. But all you're doing is offsetting the cost of the RJ45 jack and compatibility, and handing that cost off to someone who's making an SFP Plus module, because they have to think of the logic that connects the two. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And someone says, "Classic green board. What a beauty." What a beauty. Griffiny. Yeah, I agree. There is something about a good quality old green motherboard. Oh God, what are you doing?
My bad.
Yeah.
I just ruined the magic for everybody.
I trust you to drive.
I panicked, dude. I was like, I'm not on there anymore.
Yeah. Oh God, where did they go? Yeah, there is something about an old school green motherboard that it just pleases me. It's a good board.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Mobo green, that's my color.
Other improvements are the upgrade from a 16 megabyte BIOS chip up to a 32 megabyte BIOS chip, which should support future revisions of EPYC if they want to roll out new core code for it. Yeah, Like I said, there's not a lot to say here, but holy crap, I want that motherboard. I don't know what I'd use with it yet, but I want it. Immersion broken.
No, I'm the worst.
You just ruined everyone's night.
Yeah, I'll just sign off. Talk to an empty room for the rest of the night.
Yep. All right. Green says all business. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
There's some. Yeah.
That's what I think when I see my face walking through the door. All business. Green is my favorite color, though.
That man means business.
Green is the color of money and genius.
That's right. I'm going to actually flip-flop these next stories. I don't know why I didn't put them together. So jump one ahead. There you go. So the UK just announced, UK government today announced that they have awarded the contract for the country's most powerful supercomputer ever to Cray, which is a subsidiary of HP. They are HP's supercomputer brand. Cray used to be their own thing. I believe they were purchased by HP. Gosh, what was it? 12, 14 years ago, something like that. Anyway, they have awarded Cray with the contract to build them the world's fastest supercomputer. And it will be powered, not surprisingly, by AMD Epic Rome CPUs. It will be named the Archer 2 and will be spun up sometime in May of 2020. For some of the hardware specs on this, again, we're going to kind of go holy crap as the nomenclature. 28 petaflops of peak performance, 5,848 individual compute nodes, so that's basically a 1U server chassis. Each with dual AMD Rome 64-core CPUs at 2.2 gigahertz, for a total of 748,544 Rome cores in total and 1.57 petabytes of memory. Are you still with me? 23 racks. 23 48U racks. All direct liquid-cooled cabinets.
Oof.
14.5 petabytes of storage works in 4 file systems. 1.1 petabytes of all-flash burst buffer file system. So that is their read-write buffer. 1.1 petabytes of flash memory. 1+1 disaster recovery petabytes. And using Slingshot 100 gigabit networking. Consisting of 48 compute groups across the 23 racks. Yeah, again, holy crap, what else can you say? Now, I crunched a couple of numbers on this. So, if the 748,544 cores of AMD Epic Rome goodness wasn't good enough, do you know what those CPUs cost when you scale it up that high?
How much?
So, given the $7,000 retail cost of the AMD Epic Romes, and given that each of the 5,848 compute nodes will have 2 of those 64-core CPUs, we're looking at a cost of about $81 million just in AMD silicon. Just in CPUs. $81 million.
Oh my god.
And someone says, but can it play Crysis? I bet you it could CPU render Crysis.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Seems like a bit overkill, even for 4K and 144 hertz. Yeah. But Willow one built Real on Crysis. Yeah, I should have sensed the Crysis jokes coming. Good.
I don't know what I was gonna say. So they're gonna build the world's fastest supercomputer.
Mm-hmm.
But
or at least the UK's. I think there are a couple that are out there that are faster.
What are they doing with it?
Machine learning, AI kind of stuff, scientific workloads, predictions, etc.
I guess that's right here, huh?
Yeah. Software-wise, Archer 2 will feature Cray programming environment with specific optimizing compilers and libraries for AMD Epic Rome. The system will rely on Cray Linux and on Cray's Linux environment, also specially optimized specifically for AMD Rome. When Archie-2 goes into operation next year, it is expected to be the 5th most powerful supercomputer in the world and most powerful CPU-only supercomputer in the world.
Wow.
So again, it could probably CPU render Crysis.
Wow. That's crazy. 5 days later, the hardware will be obsolete.
Yeah. I'd give it about 12 months, and we might be looking at 128 AMD cores.
Oh, by the way, here's why everybody's asking about it.
Yeah.
Did you see that at the bottom?
Yeah. Okay. Tell you what, I will take the survey. I'm going to say sure, but can it run Minecraft with ray tracing?
There you go. Okay, I'm going to say who cares, does it have RGB?
RGB is actually second.
Already voted.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just voted from this IP address, so it probably blacked you out. But
it's a stupid vote that doesn't even matter, and they're gonna freaking limit us to one vote.
What's funny is, of course, gets 22% of the votes, and who cares that it doesn't have RGB, and sure, but can it run Minecraft are tied at 39% each.
Perfect.
So there you go.
But it is a 13 vote difference, so.
That's true. That is true. So, the Can It Run Minecraft with Ray Tracing has it. At the moment, anyway.
Perfect.
Does it have RGB is the number one question. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if some of the racks had RGB, because a lot of them may end up with RGB throughout the years. I know I've built a couple racks with RGB, including one that turns red when the power goes off.
Fancy.
That one was just for fun. May include that in my server rack eventually. That'd be kind of fun. Is walk out to the garage and, oh god, the power went out, and you're on red alert on your rack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Damage report.
Or you have the DS9.
That's true.
Yeah. You have the Cardassian one, which sounds way more intense.
I kind of just like the Enterprise one, personally, but, you know. Or I guess, you know, I like the Death Star one more. The one that's like... How does it sound? Did I mess it up? Maybe you had it right.
Yeah, it's a siren. That's
It's like a true klaxon alarm.
I know.
Yeah, more like that. Yeah,
there we go. Oh, tune in for all the sound effects.
Welcome to Craft Computing Foley Hour.
Yeah.
Where we make water droplet sounds.
I can do the drop, but not nearly loud enough to get the microphone. I'd have to get really close, and that would just be uncomfortable.
I think I got it.
You did. You got a good one in.
Chime in.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotta be more aggressive on it.
Yep.
Now I suck.
That was actually a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
I heard it.
Yeah, it's all in the mouth movement.
Yeah.
You gotta move your mouth.
Yep.
Anyway.
This is why you tune into this show. This must be why you tune into this show.
Surely.
Because there's nothing else.
Surely your Wednesday night primetime programming isn't lacking.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
Can't wait for next year. I'm predicting a Ryzen 7 4800G 8-core 16-thread chiplet with a Navi chiplet. I had some speculation earlier this week. I'm going to go a little bit out of order, and we'll talk about this real quick. That AMD may have had a non-compete with Intel when it came to the Vega 20 that was being integrated into the 8807G mobile chip. For those who don't know, AMD and Intel actually collaborated where AMD gave Intel a Vega 20 to integrate into their 8807G. And curiously enough, AMD never released anything even remotely close to that performance-wise in the GPU space for the couple of years that was out. They released some Polaris-based GPUs, you know, the RX 560, 570, 580. They released the Vega 56 and 64. Then they released the Radeon 7, which was a 7 nanometer, 60 compute units, I want to say. Then they came out with the RX 5700 and the 5700 XT, which are 40 and 44 compute units respectively on Navi 7 nanometer. But Vega was always kind of this weird thing because we always heard it performed really, really well on the 8807G, but we never got to see it with anything else. and why AMD wasn't selling a Vega 20 GPU if it scaled so well and power efficiency was through the roof for the $150 to $200 price point. Well, they discontinued that, and then a day later, AMD announces that the RX 5500 series is coming out, which is going to slot directly into that $150 to $200 price point, and finally supplant Polaris as the GPU of choice there. But I think that we are going to start seeing Vega and Navi GPUs integrated into APUs beyond the Vega 8 and Vega 11 graphics that we've been kind of limited to. My laptop has a Vega 8 GPU in it on the 2500U AMD mobile chip. I'd love this thing if it had a Vega 20 or a Navi 14 or Navi 20, something in that range. This would be a freaking awesome laptop if that was the case. It is just a little underpowered GPU-wise in my opinion, though. So I think there was a non-compete. I think Intel definitely had something to do with it, although AMD was certainly making money on the arrangement. I'm really excited to see what AMD comes out with next year.
Yeah.
In the APU market. So, there we go. Teslas the world over are starting to die.
Why does mine look like this?
There's the Death Star sound.
Yeah.
And it's not a mechanical failure. This is actually due to Tesla's excessive data logging, killing the onboard NAND flash. I don't know why yours looks like that. It might be a mobile thing. Sad beep. R2. Anyway, Tesla is very well known for their analytics and logging of travel and service data and everything else that goes along with Tesla. But the excessive data logging may be killing eMMCs that are on board inside the infotainment system. Now, the problem is Tesla is so reliant on the infotainment system that if that eMMC dies, your car will no longer run. So Teslas are dying because of what is literally a $20 part, which Tesla is charging $1,800 to $3,000. Excuse me.
No.
To replace. So
that ain't good.
Certainly brings to light some A, right to repair issues, some B, Tesla, is this really the best plan issues. Excuse me. It's not a good look for Tesla.
No.
Now, we all kind of know that Tesla is kind of like the Apple of cars. They go out of their way to prevent you from working on their equipment, in preventing you from charging it at rapid chargers and whatnot, to refusing service on your car if you've had third-party repairs done on it, and forcing you into first-party repairs, which again they're charging $1,800 to $3,000 to remove your head unit and they're replacing the entire infotainment console rather than just replacing the part that's dead. And to me, as a right to repair enthusiast, that's not a good move. Like, replace the part that's dead, not replace the entire component.
Yeah.
I don't understand why no one repairs things anymore.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I got to admit, I've been a bit of a Tesla fanboy these past few months, just seeing all the great strides that they've been making in the electric car market. Model 3 has become like the 5th best-selling car in the United States, which is like impressive for an all-electric, so it kind of hurts to see stuff like this, and it seems like stupid, easily avoidable.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think right to repair is the biggest thing. I mean, let them take it to somebody that's going to say, "Oh, all right, yeah, I can fix this for $50."
Right. Excuse me. The hiccups are coming early today. I think it's the sour.
Yeah, it is. It is a little hiccup-inducing. I'm getting
a
little something, but
yeah, I've been fighting it for a couple minutes, and I don't know if I can fight it any longer.
Nope. Show's over.
Show's over.
Nobody wants to listen to an hour of you with hiccups, Jeff. Figure this out.
I'm trying.
Chug, chug, chug.
Oh, no. You want the show to be over for different reasons. I'll chug this beer.
I can hold it down.
Yeah. Anyway, so the issue is, like I said, it's a $20 part. It's an eMMC module.
Yep.
Which is a lower tier of flash memory than an SSD. But there is supposedly a third-party repair guy who is figuring out a way to modify these to work. A guy named Jason Hughes, known as the Tesla hacker, or a Tesla hacker. I don't know if he's the Tesla hacker.
That'd be pretty awesome if that was his...
I think Rich Rebuilds gets Tesla hacker, or at least Tesla slasher, I think, would be more Rich Rebuilds. But anyway, he figured out a way to service the eMMC modules for far less than the replacement MCU that Tesla is charging. And in fact, if you get him your eMMC module before it dies, he can even transfer over the unique vehicle identifiers over to the new chip, the new NAND flash chip, which will still enable you to get Tesla service and still allow you to supercharge.
Oh, dope.
Not only that, he also has software hacks, which instead of writing the data logging to the NAND flash, we'll start writing it to memory first, and then when the trip is done, we'll dump it once onto the NAND flash. So instead of constant write cycles...
Because that's what's killing these, right? It's just the constant write cycles.
It's the constant write cycles. So SSDs do have a finite lifespan. There is only so many times you can write bits over the top of data cells. Eventually, they will stop working. Now, a lot of SSDs come with an advertised capacity of, let's say, 1 terabyte or 512 gigabytes. The actual capacity of those might be actually 10% larger. And I'm not talking about file system reduction. I'm talking about actual usable capacity when you plug it in. It reports as let's say, a 1 terabyte drive, when in reality, there's actually 1.05 terabytes of physical space on that drive. The firmware will detect when a cell is no longer writable and will allocate one of the backup cells to take its place. And so it will dynamically allocate what cells are good, what cells are bad to keep the drive functioning. Now, unfortunately, once it gets to the point where it's eaten up too many of its cells and it doesn't have any more to replace it with, you'll start losing capacity. And it will be kind of slow, but once you start losing capacity, there's no turning around from that. And eventually that drive will just eat itself alive. So by reducing the write cycles on the Tesla, you can prevent or certainly mitigate this issue pretty wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And probably extend the life. If I'm not mistaken, they did it in the MCU2. It is both versions, the MCU1 and the MCU2, that are affected. The MCU2 does have the issue with extensive data logging. This is a direct quote from Jason Hughes. Fortunately, they have a larger flash memory size, which should mitigate the issue for the time being. Tesla will still have to eliminate or curb this logging significantly on these if they want them to last, though. So this is an issue on the MCU version 1. However, it is still an issue on MCU 2. It's just going to take longer. So there you go. So this brings up kind of the bigger problem of, should my car be inoperable because of a NAND flash failure on the infotainment screen?
Pretty unreasonable.
That's a tough pill to swallow. That is a very tough one to swallow.
Especially if
it's dying because it functions as a black box.
And unfortunately, yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, Tesla has become a little bit more than just these, status symbol, I guess. They've also
They're a common car.
Right. And they're becoming sort of the poster boy for all electric, which...
Yeah, I see 4 or 5 of them on my daily commute to work.
I am blown away by how many I see. Mm-hmm. I can see,
especially Model S's. How many people have $80,000 to drop on a car?
Right. I know.
Probably far less than are on the road.
God, Model S's look sleek, though, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Damn it. I know. See, my hope is...
P100D. Oh.
My hope is... My hope is that I can make my current cars last long enough that all the kinks are worked out with Tesla. Tesla becomes affordable, and then my next car can become an all-electric. Maybe Tesla, maybe whatever's out there, I guess. But that's kind of my goal. I personally think that switching to all-electric cars is kind of an important thing for society in the next couple decades. And that's sort of the symbol of what Tesla has become. And now I understand that the Nissan Leaf and the Chevy Volt are good economy brand alternatives. but they aren't selling as well.
Yeah.
You don't see them.
Chevy actually sells quite well.
Sure.
It's, I believe, the number 2 car seller, and the Nissan is third.
Oh.
And actually, Chevy does do a good number of electric car sales.
No, and I know that they're doing very well with those. I guess I just didn't realize that they were still up there in that top.
Yeah.
In that top.
No, they're top tier up with Tesla.
Gotcha. Okay.
So.
Well,
You're just throwing out numbers on a news show.
Yeah. Hey, I don't research. What's that? I don't need a cite any numbers. You know what? Fake news.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just exciting for what it means, and that's the problem with something like this, is that you're becoming sort of a symbol for the emerging all-electric vehicle market, and you're being destroyed by a small failure like this.
Right.
It's not a good PR move.
Right.
Or a PR look, I suppose.
Right.
And what's funny is, I don't know. It's not like Elon Musk is like a great guy by any means. But I often, when stuff like this happens, I always wonder to myself, like, what does he think about this?
Yeah.
Like, is he worrying about the bottom line? Or is he just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Because he's such an eclectic person. And I don't know. That's not relevant at all, but it makes me wonder. In these situations, I'm always like, what does he think?
Yeah. My problem with a lot of the, I'm going to call them lower tier electric vehicles, because Tesla is on another plane when it comes to the quality of the car.
Their lowest tier car is worth, what, $30,000?
I think 28's the Tesla 3,
sure.
Kind of like at the base level.
If you get like the base level, like in
right. You don't even get electric locks in this electric car.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think 28, maybe 32. It's somewhere right in there is the base model MSRP.
Which is expensive for a car.
Which is still a decent amount of money. But my problem with cars like the Chevy Bolt, less so with the Bolt because
Volt.
Or Chevy. No, there's the Bolt and the Volt.
Oh.
There's 2 different models. And there's also the Spark, which is an all-EV.
That was one thing. I saw the Spark, and I wasn't sure about that.
The Spark has a gas model that retails for about $12,000, and an electric model that retails for $25,000.
Jesus.
Here's my problem with that, and this is exactly the point I was going to make. The Chevy Spark is a $12,000 car that I'm spending $25,000 on because I wanted electric. And with the $12,000 car, you get all of the $12,000 rattles and shakes and shimmies and cheap tires and bad axles.
That is got to be a holdover of just capitalism at its finest.
And I'm sure it is. They're taking existing car models and they're slapping electric into them, and they're charging you 2 to 3 times as much for that same car. The Nissan Leaf is a Nissan Versa with an electric engine slapped to it for $30,000, and we're familiar with the Nissan Versa.
We could have done a whole blog on the Versa.
You almost got a travel vlog of the Nissan Versa.
Travel in discomfort.
Yes.
That could be their slogan. That's a pretty good one. No, it's not.
Nissan Versa. Comfort. Travel. Choose one. There you go.
Comfort. Travel. Your pick. Don't. It ain't travel if you pick.
That's right.
Nissan Versa.
Yeah. So for those who aren't aware, we went to CES this last year. And it was at the time the government shutdown was happening, and the airports were threatening to close. In fact, a couple of them did. Yeah. And Las Vegas was one of the airports that was threatening to close because TSA would not be operable, and the air traffic controllers wouldn't be working. Yeah. And so we almost... There was a distinct possibility that we would have been stranded in Las Vegas, which means I would have just taken my rental car home.
Yeah.
And so we almost, and I thought, well, to do this right, let's do a travel vlog in the 2017 Nissan Versa, and do like a proper car commercial, but just make fun of the thing the whole time, because that was an awful car.
You know what's funny is Versa is a antibiotic resistant bacterial infection, so
makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of parallels there.
God, I just thought about that. That is a horrible coincidence.
Now, I say the Versa is a terrible car as someone who owns 2 other Nissans and freaking loves them. And the Versa is a terrible car.
That's true.
But Anyway, my problem with the majority of the not Tesla electric car market is you're paying a premium for a cheaper car, for cheaper build construction, for cheaper materials, for hard plastic interiors, for substandard suspensions, and they have to be lightweight cars to get the range on them, and so they're stripping out a lot of the interior components and a lot of other components that make it usable, and instead you're left with a shell of a car that happens to have an electric engine, and
for that much money, it's just not worth it.
Right.
And it's a joke. It feels like that's a move to. It just feels so grubby and greedy. Like they're trying to shift sales to their standard engine cars, while at the same time gouging people that are feeling pushed towards all electric options in this political climate. Yeah. And the people that are going to be shifting towards electric motors are the ones that might have the means to be able to do that. Yeah. So it feels like a little bit of price gouging to me. And
it does feel like price gouging. It's price gouging to the lower tier who go, I want a Tesla, but I can't afford one. Oh, look, a Chevy Spark.
Yeah.
And it's disingenuous, and it's not right.
And that's the thing. At least Tesla, for all their faults, they've been open from the get-go that they were never going to be a base model consumer level car. They were making expensive cars.
Yes.
In order to perfect the technology.
Unapologetically making an $80,000 car.
Yeah. And
that might hit $60,000 one day.
Yeah. And that was the best part about Tesla in my mind, was that every process for them was very open.
Right.
They said, we are not making cheap cars. We're making expensive cars. We're going to perfect the technology. Someday, we'll have a consumer level car.
Right. And that's the Tesla Model 3 at $35,000.
Yeah.
Upwards of 40 if you want the extended range model and a couple of extras like that. I think 45 is where they top out. Goodness, the rain just hit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a deep rumble happening outside.
Gotta work outside tomorrow.
That's right. I want to see Mazda make an electric vehicle. Yeah, but my guess is it's going to be the Mazda 2, which is a Scion IQ, which is not the electric car I want to see Mazda make. No. Crack Computing, sounds like you were about to do a homebrew Top Gear episode. I'd pay to watch that. Actually, that was probably going to be pretty much what it was. It was either like half a Nissan Versa advertisement that was just making fun of it, but in like the announcer voice.
Yeah. The endearing announcer voice.
You're right. The 2017 Nissan Versa.
Yeah. 4 gears for top speed.
For your transportation needs, and that's it.
It has 4 doors and 4 wheels and goes forward.
See, we spent all week spitballing this thing.
Every time you get into it, it was like, dang it, we really should do that.
Yeah. That transmission was god-awful, too. I'm pretty sure it was a CVT. I don't have any confirmation that it was or not, but I'm pretty sure they use a CVT, a continuously variable transmission. And that thing was hot garbage. It was one of the cars that does 0 to 60, yes. We eventually got to 60, although that was terrifying.
Oh, yeah. A couple times you get on the freeway and you're like, I am trying to merge.
Right. And you push the gas, and in a standard car, even with an automatic, if you're giving it some gas, it's it's the real quick downshifts and you're up and going, or upshifts. With the Versa, it was and you just kind of hovered in that 2,500 RPM range with absolutely no torque. Yeah. So, yeah, it was.
Oh, look, anybody that has a Versa, I'm glad it gets you to work. I truly am.
Yeah. I want to see Mazda replace their Wankel RX-7s and 8s with an EV sports car. Unfortunately, the next RX vehicle, as I think we might have talked about last week, or maybe I was just talking about with some friends, I don't remember, is there will be a revival of the Wankel engine, but it'll be for a hybrid drivetrain. So basically, it'll be the power plant to charge your battery to power an electric car. So we're not going to actually get true Wankel, high revving, high torque performance. That 12,000 RPM red line that everyone goes gaga over. And trust me, I'm a Wankel fan. RX-8 is one of my favorite cars ever. I wish they drove for more than 80,000 miles at a time.
Just a dirty old Wankel.
Yeah. So Yeah, unfortunately, I looked at a couple RX-8s that were like 75,000 miles. I'm like, I don't want to replace Apex seals. So I ended up buying a Nissan 350Z. So, there you go.
The middle ground.
Yeah, middle ground. Yeah. Well, no, I'd put it as a better overall car. Not that I have anything against the RX-8s.
Dang, see how defensive you got right there?
I know. I know. I am a little uppity with my Z car. I do like it. What I do like about driving the 350Z is everyone else who drives the 350Z gives the little motorcycle wave to everyone as you drive by. And so it's a lot of fun seeing another Z car on the road. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
It is doing that number.
Isn't that fun?
That just makes me smile every time it happens.
Right? Isn't that the best?
I passed probably 2 other Z cars going the opposite direction every day to and from work. There's a red one and a white one. And every morning it's, how's it going, buddy?
Right.
Looking sharp.
And they're like, I always pass that one guy in the
that silver convertible. That bastard. Thinks he's so much better than us.
Oh, look at me. I got the convertible. I expect good weather from time to time.
Convertible with the touring trim. Meanwhile, I got the sport. Yeah.
Oh.
CVT is rough. It's gotten better. It's gotten better, but that whine though, that whine that just kind of stays right in that RPM range, and there's no torque to it. There's no acceleration to any CVT I've ever driven. They're all horrible, except snowmobiles. Snowmobiles have CVTs. Those I can accept.
That's just how it goes.
Yep. All right.
Wow. Life's good.
We ate a little with car talk there. Moving on to some gaming news. So Microsoft has started inviting people to try their xCloud gaming service. Why did that close?
Uh-oh. Guess
In the
you
world?
got to read it over here, son.
That is weird. I'm trying to click the link and it's not opening. So I guess I will just read it over there.
Well, Microsoft is starting to invite players to test out its Project X Cloud game streaming service. It's going to open up a public preview of the platform starting in October, allowing players to stream games to their Android devices. Looks like they've got Halo 5 Guardians, Gears 5, Killer Instinct, and Sea of Thieves all available to play on their streaming service. You can see how horrible it looks in this picture. No, I'm kidding. Actually, it looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'd play Forza on a smartphone. Are you kidding me?
Why not? Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'm down. This is pretty cool. I wonder what it takes to get in on this.
I think they were doing private invites first for Xbox Live and Game Plus subscriptions.
That's not me.
Yeah, you have to be invited and you have to be a member of that subscription service. So, unfortunately, not me. Although I've thought about joining the Games Plus or whatever they're calling it, so I can get some of their PC games because I'd love to play Gears of War 5 for $5 a month.
Yeah.
And Halo 5 and a couple other Forza. I'd love to have those on my PC. I just haven't done it yet because I don't have time to play games.
Games.
Yeah. Cloud gaming, no, you can't play offline. Even having Steam.
Having Steam,
pretty much. Yeah, you can't play offline.
I play Steam offline almost exclusively.
Yeah, you can play Steam offline. You can't play a streaming service offline, just like you can't really watch Netflix offline unless you happen to live in a rural area and qualify for their download package, or you pay for their download package. And there's a couple of the services that allow you to do things like that. But yeah, this is really meant for people with good, solid internet connections that are, just want to pay $10 a month and have access to a games library that they can open up on their computer or their Xbox or their smartphone or whatever else.
Yeah, I mean that's the question I'd ask somebody like JFC here is, that's your reason for no? Like, how often are you ever off the internet? And I'm asking that honestly. Like, do you carry a smartphone in your pocket? I mean, do you not have internet at home?
Don't you guys have phones?
Yeah, don't you guys? I know. God, oh no. Oh,
you totally went there.
I just turned into Blizzard.
Not a good time to turn to Blizzard.
No.
Turn into Blizzard.
No.
Incidentally.
Don't taste me, bro. Yeah, let's not get
Although
into that.
LeBron James taking some heat off of Blizzard, didn't he?
That's all I could think when I read that morning. I was like, whoa, dude, either they got him or Blizzard got him, you know?
Yeah.
Blizzard was like, dude, just say this and we'll give you some money. We'll make a game about you, dude. We'll
Dude,
put
do
you
me
in
a
the new
solid.
Diablo. Dude, that's crazy.
Next to Diablo 4, you fight King James.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's in the next freaking Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
I know that's not Blizzard. I just think it'd be funny. Anyway, what a wild time to be alive, dude. The news is crazy. Everything's crazy. Poor Blizzard. But more importantly, yeah, it sounds dumb, but I do legitimately mean that, though. It's like, that's your reason for not getting into streaming service? How about, look, I'm the dude that's resistant to technology changes here, okay? Like, I'm still kind of thinking this widescreen thing, haven't invested in it yet. But beyond that, like, you're
1280 by 1024 till he dies.
Ride or die, son. I just think it's like you're always connected to the internet, and unless like you're expecting like the world to just fall apart around your ears tomorrow, which like yeah, sure could happen. That was one of my resistances to getting a Steam library. Was I was like, well, how would I play games if like there was a militant coup and there was no internet for the next several weeks?
Yep.
What a dumb reason not to play Steam games.
Yeah. And obviously I'm not going to work during that time. So.
Yeah, clearly. That's when I'm going to be playing. You just switch to offline mode, and you're good to go. And then you can play games. Anyway, Epic, UBI, and Origin asked for internet connection to launch most of their games. I had an internet problem and couldn't play 10 or more games for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, DRM sucks.
Yeah.
So hop on that good old games train, son.
Any game that's available on Good Old Games that I was thinking about buying on Steam, I've just bought on Good Old Games.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy Cyberpunk 2077 on Good Old Games because it's DRM free and I can download it and it's mine.
Yeah.
There's quite a few other games I own. I own Witcher 3. I own Kingdom Come Deliverance. I own...
Dude, that game's so good.
Overload, which is the Descent spiritual successor from the original devs.
Oh, yeah.
All that I own on Good Old Games. So, goodoldgames.com. Look them up. Buy from them.
Yeah. GOG.com.
GOG.com.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
I have the original Crysis on Good Old Games because I wanted to install it on every computer I owned because, can it run Crysis?
Perfect.
And now I don't have to rely on Steam or GameSpy or anything like that, which... RIP GameSpy. But, it stripped out all the DRM from it. You don't have Denuvo or GameSpy, holding a hostage anymore. And I'm like, hey, I can play Crysis because I want to.
Yeah.
So...
Dude, Pillars of Eternity 2, one of the best RPGs, DRM free,
Yes.
Good old games. That's awesome. Pillars of Eternity, one of my favorite RPGs. I haven't got 2 yet. I made the distinction. I was like, yo, what game should I play after Pillars of Eternity? And every list that I saw came up with like, yo, get Tyranny. And so I got Tyranny instead, but I'm looking at Pillars 2 and I really regret my life choices. Right now I'm playing Pathfinder, Kingmaker. It's really good. Play that if you haven't played it. I'm addicted to games right now.
Meme Lord Zuckerberg, $2 donation. Love the content. Thank you for making it. Thank you for watching it.
Thanks, Meme Lord
More
Zuckerberg.
than anything else.
Dude.
Thank you.
Meme Lord Zoidberg.
That's what I thought it said at first. I was about to say Meme Lord Zoidberg.
Every time I see Zuckerberg, I automatically think it says Zoidberg, and I'm like, oh, Futurama fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm just picturing Zuckerberg at like Zuckerberg at the hearing, but as Zoidberg.
Yeah. Perfect.
Did you know you were stealing everyone's data? Wow.
Did I know that I was stealing everybody's data? That's horrible.
I'm not hearing a no.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I can't do the Zoidberg voice. I can do the whoop, 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 whoop. That's about all I can do.
Yo, Reverend, you could probably not worry
Again,
about
you don't watch us for the sound effects.
No, you don't. Reverend says he needs to get the expansion for Pillars. I'd say you could skip it if you want. Save that money and go get Kingmaker. Kingmaker is pretty unstable, but honestly, it's like the most fun I've had playing a top-down RPG in a long time. Like between Pillars, Tyranny, and Pathfinder, like they all have their strengths, and like Pillars really got me back into that. It's like those old school top-down RPGs, but with like the modern spins. But like Tyranny upped the ante on like storyline and like branching storylines and stuff. But like Pathfinder has been just like so fun. And granted, I haven't beat it yet, but I've enjoyed it thoroughly from top to bottom. So save your money on that expansion because I bought it and I personally don't know if it's worth it. And you could put it towards something else.
Yep. So speaking of some old games, the Internet Archive, which if you are not familiar with the Internet Archive, is a fantastical place of things once thought lost. If you love playing MS-DOS games, like CNET gives 3D Bomber, Zool, and Alien Rampage as examples. Zool, that's right. Check out the Internet Archive as they just released 2,500 MS-DOS games that you can play for free online.
Nice.
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Vorterra, Spooky Kooky, Monster Maker, Princess Maker 2, and hundreds and thousands of others. Yeah, they've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. I have used Internet Archive before for looking up some old DOS games that I'd forgotten about. Playing the old Bugs Bunny pink and white DOS game. That was the hair monster that was chasing after you. And playing that one. And a whole bunch of other games. If you are into retro computing and you want to like relive this, but in a Chrome browser, go check them out because they've got some good stuff, and they just dropped 2,500 new games.
That is so dope.
So I do like game preservation. I stand by using emulation and open source materials and tools to preserve games, because there are times that I want to go back and play games, especially there's this weird missing gap, and it's the Windows 95 and 98 days that don't emulate very well and can't run on modern systems because they're 16-bit code. And you can't get the hardware, and you can't get an FPGA fast enough to run that hardware yet. So there's this weird like missing gap of my teenage years for like Atomic Bomberman for Windows 95. It doesn't exist. You can't play it because it relied on CPU core speed. And if you try to play it on a modern system, number one, it won't run. But number two, even if you ran Windows 98 on a modern system at 300 megahertz, it was meant for a 486 66 megahertz, and it's going to run accordingly at that speed. You say wine, bruh. Windows 95 doesn't do well with wine, and there's some calls that just don't work with that era of gaming. So basically, games from like 95 to 99 in that middle area before the NT Core took over with Windows 2000 or Windows XP. They just don't do well. So
I love how confident he was about himself too.
Yeah, wine, bruh. Yeah,
bruh.
Trust me, I've tried wine, bruh. It's kind of like an emulator.
God, if only anybody had ever thought about that.
Yeah, stick the knife.
Joe T says Disco Elysium got great reviews too. Is that game out yet? Because we got to play that hands-on demo at PAX last year. And that was one title that I was really stoked on, and just never kept up with the release date. Pathfinder was one we walked by a whole bunch and never played it.
Yeah, Pathfinder I didn't get an opportunity to play. Steve and I think, got to play Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
And it was definitely interesting. It's kind of a callback to kind of an isometric story solver is what I want to call it.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of the Hugo Whodunit kind of things.
Yeah.
Where you walk around not given a storyline, not given a thing, and you develop the character as you go along. And I've heard the reviews are very, very positive, and I will certainly be trying that out as soon as I'm able to sit down and game again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on top of my day job, which kind of pays all my bills, and then the YouTube, which I'm hoping one day will pay the bills, I'm also house shopping right now. So,
you got a full plate.
What little free time I had, which was none, is now being eaten up by house shopping. So I was out all weekend and then again today. Doing a number of things. So hopefully good news soon-ish to share on the channel, but not quite yet. I'm not quite there to share any news. But so stay tuned if you are interested in
good news.
In good news and where craft computing might be, and maybe a couple moving vlogs.
Bum, ba-da-bum.
That's right. Subscribe. Like the video. Why not? Speaking of things not to like, holy hell. So, none of us were a fan of the way the Sonic the Hedgehog movie...
What? None of us?
None of us were a fan.
None of us? I guess...
I think universally...
None of you were fans.
I think universally... It's Sonic with teeth, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He's got molars.
Yes, so do I. Representational media.
Like,
It's a horrible joke. I don't know why I tried to make that one.
Yeah. Like
all right, fine. I'll stop pretending.
Thank you. Thank you. No one liked this. No one liked this. Video on moving a server rack. That's a good idea, actually, and will probably be happening. Because I will be doing a server rack setup video in the new location when and if I move. So that'll be coming, as well as possibly some home automation content. Yes. Computer, dim the lights by 30%. Thank you. Computer, lock the front door. Computer, open the garage. Or rather, open the pod bay doors.
Open the pod bay doors, computer.
That's right. Computer. Hello, computer. So yeah, I'm starting to toy around with some home automation stuff that I'm wanting to integrate into a house if I buy. So yeah, stay tuned. There's some good stuff coming. Anyway, no one liked this. But for some reason, there are now Halloween costumes.
You gotta see.
Prepare.
Here they are.
Here they are. They're even more frightening than the movie.
Oh god, it's horrible.
They are absolutely terrifying. Like that green-eyed Sonic is looking right directly into your soul. Like seriously, he's permanently looking right. But holy crap, I never thought I would want people to go back to like the Nixon masks and things like that. But
right.
I want to see this guy rob a bank. That's what I want to see. But how would the camera catch him? He's too quick.
Right? Yeah. Dude, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be Sonic. And this costume lets me live that dream.
You know what, Rhett? Live your dream. And share pictures.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think that costume is worth that cost, but...
Yeah, $35 for that, by the way.
Yeah.
$35 for a unitard with kind of like a foam latex hair? Cowl? Shroud? Hood? What other words can we throw at it?
I don't know.
Cloak of shame? Yeah, it's not good. Add to cart.
All right.
You go for it, buddy.
You guys asked for it.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't work.
Why does the mask have a perverted smile? That's my point! That's exactly my point.
Okay.
Like, look at that thing.
Okay, you guys are the ones sexualizing a mask.
It looks like the Blue Grinch.
Sure. Yeah, it totally does.
I don't know why I didn't see that before. Yeah, it looks like a Blue Grinch. And I'm not going to say the other joke that came to my mind, but because it's not appropriate. But yeah, so Sonic the Hedgehog costumes. Get them while they're hot.
You know what? I'm going to try to get this mask.
You're going to get the mask?
I'll bring it next time I'm on.
Get the unitard to go with it.
I don't know about that.
You got to get the combo, man. Got to go for broke. I love even more that the Sonic head is photoshopped onto a photo stock head.
Yeah.
He's not even wearing that. That's a Sonic photoshopped onto a guy's head.
Yeah. Because it doesn't even look like it's on.
There's a white border underneath it.
Yeah, dude, whoever photoshopped that. Although, dude, maybe Kotaku photoshopped that to prove their point.
But look at the jagged edges. Yeah. So someone photoshopped this by using the lasso tool and doing straight line cuts. It's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And then they did get a little bit there because I guess the wand tool worked out for them there, but they couldn't get quite the bottom. So there's like along the neckline, there's like a white border underneath that. Yeah. Seriously, zoom in on that image.
Can I zoom in more here?
Control and then scroll. There you go. And move down. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's a white like border underneath the neckline and straight line cuts on the side. It's a horrible Photoshop. Yeah, it's not going to let you move because you're technically zooming a web page.
Let's just leave it here for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, let's just leave that there.
Don't take this away. It gives me nightmares. Want some Sonic food while wearing this.
I'd like a cherry limeade slush, please.
Make it blueberry. Get it? Blue. Sonic the Hedgehog.
And make it fast.
My favorite was somebody showing like what the white circle was on a hedgehog before. They're like, the hedgehog's genitals are like in this white circle, which means, and then it shows a picture of Sonic in the white circle. It's a good meme.
Jeff cracking down on them mysteries. That's right. That's why you watch this show. Let's open another beer, and we have almost 30 minutes where the show is yours. This was kind of a light news week. We stretched it as long as we could with some car talk, and I can only talk about Sanic for so long.
Yep.
But what do you guys want to talk about? Did I miss a news story from this week that you guys are interested in?
If you guys would like rants, go ahead and bring up Morrowind, Star Wars. Tell me that The Last Jedi is the worst movie ever made. What else can I rant about? No Man's Sky.
You'll find something. You'll find something.
I was going back and watching some of the old episodes to see where I've ranted. Mm-hmm. And I think the birth of like the rant was that episode with one of the updates for No Man's Sky. And I just like went off on it. Yeah. Anyways.
Good Lord.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of this chair later.
You've been in a relaxed position for most of the night.
Yeah. I tried to lean forward for a little bit, and then I was like, really sore.
Yeah. I noticed that, because most of the questions you were like back here.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, just, whatever. Leave me.
Look, when I get the producer's notes at the end of the night, and he says I need to be more not comfortable in the chair.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some notes. Don't you worry.
You spilled beer on yourself, Rhett. You're looking sloppy.
Boom.
Oh, yeah, son? What up?
To the rim.
Yeah, that sucks.
Boom, son.
Somebody said that this was a special edition?
Is it?
I don't know. They just asked.
No, this is just Black Butte Porter. It's just Black Butte Porter.
They said you got the Black Butte Porter special edition, question mark?
Nope. It's not the special edition. It's the standard 6-pack. 5.2%, 30 IBU.
Deschutes. Bold reputation, soft disposition, surprising balance. Behold, an iconic and unexpectedly complex porter that's more than meets the eye.
It's a transformer.
More than meets the eye.
All right.
Look at that color. My mouth watered. Don't get me wrong. The Lambic, tasty.
Yes.
The Juicy IPA, tasty.
Solid.
My mouth is watering looking at this. I have yet to smell it.
Yep.
Because my body knows what's coming.
Yep. Ferrari teaming up with Boeing. I haven't seen any news on what they're actually doing. They announced a partnership, but that's all I saw. I want to know more about Jeff's shirt. This was an image that was posted on Twitter that the original artist decided to sell as a shirt, and he was making a limited run on them. Let me see if I have any information that I can post in the description or in chat.
Limited run, though, kids. You ain't getting this. Craft Computing exclusive.
Right. It was available from TeePublic, so teepublic.com, T-E-E Public. And it is the Take Bell shirt by XX Sean. So let me see if I have... And I don't think it's available anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, because I clicked on his name and there are no designs to display. So this was a limited run. It was a one-time thing, and I freaking bought it because look at that thing. It's... I had to buy it. I had to buy it.
That's a great shirt.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys really wanted to get inventive, though, you could make your own Goose Game shirt.
Yeah.
So,
No Man's Sky Beyond. I haven't tried it yet. I'm curious to do it, especially with VR. As I don't know, a lot of you know, this space that I'm in right now is really freaking tiny. This desk is more than halfway into the room, and there's not a lot of space behind it. Like, there's the desk. Weird. So, this is not a great VR space. Unless you want to do it in the, 2-foot square that's in front of this. No. So, not a great VR space. I haven't downloaded No Man's Sky to try Beyond because I really want to try it with VR. So, one of these days, I will totally do that. Jeff, do you remember the days of socketable BIOS chips? Why don't they use them anymore? Makes sense if you mess up a flash. Some BIOS chips are still socketable. And in fact, a good number are. I know. I think some MSI boards still use a socketable BIOS. A lot of server and workstation boards use socketable BIOS for exactly the same reason, where if you brick it, you can bring it back from the dead using a programmer. I think they went away from it just from a cost standpoint. The socket itself costs money, and then you're producing a BIOS chip with pins that have to match the spec that have to go into it, versus just soldering the damn chip onto the board. It's an economy of scale kind of thing. So that's why they don't do it, because honestly, removing the BIOS chip does 99.9% of the population zero good. I have yet to smell it. Rep 2019.
That'll be my presidential campaign slogan. I have yet to smell it. They're like, sir, what do you think about the scandal unfolding? And I have yet to smell it.
Mm-hmm. I have yet to smell that, sir.
People are handing me important documents. I'm like, have you smelt it, though?
To which Rhett responds, I did not inhale.
Dude, by the time I'm president, though, it's going to be, federally illegal, so... They're going to be like, did you smoke it? I'm like...
What?
What do you mean? Does nobody just smoke 24/7? Because by the time it's federally illegal, everybody would just be smoking it 24/7.
Right. That's how it's going to work. I mean, cats and dogs eating each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally.
It's a dog eat dog world out there, and I'm wearing pants made out of milk bones.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take credit for that. That's Norm from Cheers.
Yes. Okay.
So, geez, chat's quiet.
Yeah. Come on, you guys. What else?
I'm excited to tell you all about a concert that I'm going to go see on my birthday.
Please.
In December.
Elton John again?
No, not Elton John again. He's done. That was the last time he's coming to Oregon ever.
That's right.
Supposedly.
So he says.
Yeah, he
says. Billy Joel's made that same threat.
Yeah, but Billy Joel's not nearly as old as Elton John, but
he's close.
Yeah, he's getting there. Okay. I say not nearly as old, and I just mean he's not as old, literally. Going to a concert, y'all should look up this band. It's a fun band. Don't make fun of me though if you don't like it. They're called Moon Hooch. Check it out. They're a trio, 2 sax players and a drummer, and they're just crazy. First time I saw them was on NPR Tiny Desk Concerts. If you guys follow that series, it's always a fun way to find out about music. But
one of the bands that I've always wanted to go see at some gig somewhere, but they're based out of New York and they never come to the West Coast. Project Trio.
Dude.
Yeah.
That would be so dope.
I would. If you're not aware of Project Trio, it's a flautist who also beatboxes along with a bass player and a cello.
Yeah.
And they are some of the coolest stuff. Look them up on YouTube. Project Trio.
Yeah. Some of that beatboxing flute playing is so awesome.
Yeah.
Makes me want to learn to play the flute.
What was that guy's name? Yeah. The guy has a really unique name. Members, Greg Patilio. That's right.
Oh, there you go.
He's the flute player.
Yeah.
Eric Stephenson and Peter Seymour. They do have a number of albums out spanning 2007 through 2014. And I believe they are on iTunes if you want to go buy them or listen to them. Yeah, they do some incredible stuff, both modern music as well as classics that are reimagined. One of my favorites is actually the Nutcracker.
Yes.
It's so good.
Oh, dude.
So good.
You would like Project Trio, dude. That makes me happy.
That is right in my wheelhouse, man.
Dude, for sure.
As a 9-year clarinet player.
Yeah. That's so dope.
And former band teacher major in college. I was a music education major in college. That is totally in my wheelhouse.
Dude, I'm also seeing this band that a lot of people I know, I've seen their songs come up on suggested on YouTube, and I don't know how to say it, but I'm going to try, but I think it's Hailung, and they're like a pre-Christian pagan band, and they basically, like, all of their songs are like just these like tribal drums mixed with chants and things like that, and their stage decoration is crazy. Like, the costumes are amazing. There's just all sorts of like sort of like pre-Christian, like Germanic pagan like stuff on stage, like people wearing deer antlers and loincloths. But dude, don't bash it till you try the music, because it is like the ultimate. Like, they just get this super primal pounding drum rhythms going with these epic chants. It's like so awesome. I'm gonna go see them up in Portland in a couple months.
Nice.
Yeah, they people probably see them all the time on YouTube, but I don't. I've always shied away from listening to them just because you look at the pictures and you're like, that's too pretentious. Mm-hmm. But then you listen to it and you give it a chance, you're like, oh my god, that is so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, what else we got?
I love the Tiny Desk. Me too, man. It is the place to find music. Hobo Johnson and the Lovemakers killed it on there. I would have never listened to them had it been for Tiny Desk Concert, and they were so good.
Saw a band called Steam Power Giraffe the other day. I like it, but odd.
Dude, the best type of music is like where you can say it's like, I would have never listened to that, it was so odd, but how fun. Like, dude, Reverend. Dude, not The Hue though. Sorry, my bad. But I've seen The Hue. Some of those, and that's the thing with Hailung. They use almost that like Mongolian throat singing that The Hue uses. I've seen The Hue a bunch on YouTube.
Yep.
My bad. I misunderstood what you were saying though at first. So, you getting Disney Plus or no?
Oof. I have 2 daughters under the age of 6.
Does anybody know the pricing for it yet? Do you know the pricing for it?
It's $10, I think. So it's not that bad.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you're like the perfect demographic for it.
I will probably wind up with Disney Plus. Because I am a mid-30s gentleman who likes me some Star Wars and wants to see Bounty Hunters The Mandalorian. And I've got daughters who are of age who want to see all of the cartoons and Frozen and things that are out. And I have a wife who probably wants to watch the...
Clone Wars?
Not Clone Wars.
Rebels?
I'm going to try to get her into it, but that's pushing things. Probably wants to see the Renee Zellweger and who's that other broad?
Sorry, dude.
Jennifer Aniston.
Not the person you
morning
want.
Show, the one with Steve Carell that's coming out.
Not the person you
want.
the morning.
I think it's called The Morning Show.
Okay. I know those actresses and actors.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
Love how I just said, who's that other broad? Referring to Jennifer Aniston.
Who's that other broad? Not even like, the one from Friends.
Right.
The most famous sitcom of all time.
Just who's that other broad?
Yeah.
And I love how I got Renee Zellweger over Jennifer Aniston.
That's so true.
But I have a wife who's probably going to be into that kind of show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm probably getting Disney Plus.
All right. You feel bad about it?
No.
Good.
Not really.
That makes me feel good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up in the air. Mainly, I want The Mandalorian. Obviously. But the problem is, I'm going to get myself some Disney Plus. Yep. Then in January, I'm going to have to get CBS All Access. Unless somebody else in the craft computing wants to get CBS All Access and then share it with everybody.
That may be happening.
Finally.
Allegedly.
Dude, are we going to do Picard viewing parties live?
Oh, freaking of course.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
I'm down. All right, it's happening.
Yeah. Starring Morn from DS9. There you go.
The morning show, starring Morn.
That's right. Question related to the GTX 285s that Eric Del Toro mentioned up higher. What's a good way of modding either an existing cooler or a custom cooler to work for direct die contact for them? You can use a copper shim, although I'm not sure how much better you're going to get after delidding a 285. They're pretty efficient already with the die or the IHS that's on top of them. You can do direct die cooling, but you have to use a shim of some kind because that lid was thick, as they say. THICC. Ever been to a concert where the audience is much older than you? Been to a Platinum Blonde concert where most of the audience were much older? I don't think they liked my presence there. I've never been to one where I felt out of place.
Dude, I did one where I felt super out of place.
Yeah.
Did I talk about the Dave Matthews concert here?
No.
So I went to my first Dave Matthews concert, dude. And it wasn't like they were all much older than me, but that was the closest I've ever felt to like a concert being a foreign country. Mm-hmm. And by that I mean it's like, dude, they all got their own in language. It's like, dude, he came out of playing the Gorge up here in Oregon, Washington.
Yeah.
He played 3 nights in a row. He played like 60 something songs without playing a single one of them twice. Then he took a day off and he goes back and he plays another night, and that's when I saw him. And apparently he didn't repeat any songs and all of this stuff. They have their own language, the way they talk to him. They're all predicting the songs he's going to play. They all know what he's going to play, when he's going to play. My friend goes, oh yeah, well, it's 8:05. He's probably going to come out at 8:07. And I'm like, 8:07? How the hell do you know that? And 8:07, he comes out on the dot and starts playing. Dude, it was so weird. It was the weirdest. I'm not saying I felt like an outsider necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, no, and that I did feel like an outsider, but I felt like an outside observer, right? Like where you're invited in by the tribe to like participate in their customs.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Here, eat the horse heart," and you're like, "Why?"
You're like, okay.
That's what a Dave Matthews
and you take a bite, and they're like, "Yeah!" And you're
yeah. Exactly, dude. And then people are like, "I wish I could eat the horse heart for the first time."
Yeah.
That's what people said to me about Dave Matthews. They're like, oh, it's your first time? Oh my God, I wish I could be at my first Dave Matthews concert.
I wish I could forget all of my Dave Matthews concerts from here till the time I was born and experience it for the first time, just one time again.
Dude, you almost confused me for a person I met there.
I've made that statements about a couple of games.
Sure. Books, movies, why not?
Yeah, books, movies, etc. I wish I could watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy fresh again. I wish I could play
Morrowind for the first time again.
It's a good game.
Just get out of here.
It's a good game. I wish I could play Final Fantasy 3 again for the first time. And play it through a couple of times.
That would be magical.
Because, one time maybe Celeste commits suicide and maybe she doesn't. Who knows? Because Sid died on the island. It's like there are some games and some movies and some experiences. I've never really said that about a concert. And I'm a music guy.
Yeah.
Like more than a lot of you know.
It's hard for me because the way I enjoy music is through like established context.
Yeah. And
it's hard for me to enjoy music. Like, I can definitely appreciate music I've heard for the first time, but if you want me to be like, dude, that album was a 10 out of 10, that wasn't the first time I listened to it.
Right.
That was like the third, fourth, maybe fifth time, and now I have and if that was the first album from that band I heard, maybe I listened to another album from that band in the meantime, and now I'm coming back to it with context. Oh, I see what they were going for.
Yeah.
I see the journey that they made or the influences that they picked up on. Like, that totally makes sense. So I think it's harder to do with concert, and maybe it's just the way that people like you and I, have sort of learned to listen to music or pick up on music or whatever. Games, it makes sense. That's like hardwired into, and that's probably tied in a lot more with like childhood memories and things like that.
Totally, and it's tied into being experiential.
Yeah.
And a concert is kind of a one-time thing where you do it once and then you kind of go away.
And you're in that moment with a bunch of people.
Right.
And you're experiencing that energy right then and there.
Right. I've been to a number of concerts and I've seen artists a number of times at different concerts. And each concert is very unique.
Yeah.
where I don't say, oh, I wish I could see Dave Matthews for the first time again. I go, I wish I could see Dave Matthews again at that 1997 concert. At the one that I went to that was like, that kind of thing. Where I've said that a number of times about different artists that I've gone to. And it's like, I wish I could relive that concert again.
You know what's more, though? For me, it would be, I wish I could relive that concert again with my knowledge and context and experience that I have of them now. Just to, like, see if it holds up, you know? Or just to see if I have a new appreciation of that concert with all this extra experience that I've built up with them. That's a weird thing. Maybe I'm just being super pretentious about music, and I have a tendency of being that way. I mean, I'm not like elitist or like super strict on my musical tastes. Really not. But I mean, in the show alone, I've talked about Moonhooch, I've talked about Haylung, and I've talked about Dave Matthews. You can't get 3 more different bands than that.
Right.
So.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I'm not pretentious about it, but
yeah,
I just love music.
Went to a Leonard Skinner concert 3 weeks ago, me and my wife, and we were the youngest 2 people there, and I fully believe and understand that. Yep. I met Dave at a store when I was working there years ago. Nice guy.
That's good to know. I've heard he's a really nice guy.
Yep. Final Fantasy VII on the OG PS1. And again, a lot of people go to Final Fantasy VII. I wish I could play it for the first time again.
See, yeah, I do too. I think you will go 3 just because you're a few years older than me. Whereas, so I played...
Yes.
I played 3 or 6, I guess.
You take that back. You take that back.
Well, what's weird is the first time I played it, it was 3 on the Super Nintendo. But then you get it on the PS1 with the anthology release, and it's Final Fantasy VI.
Right.
So whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I played 7 was my intro to the series. Loved it, was blown away by it, loved the music. Obviously, Nobuo Uematsu is freaking amazing. You can... Oh, I didn't catch it. Now I feel guilty. I'm gonna have to go back and watch now.
I grew up on. I loved the original Final Fantasy for NES. We never got 2 and 3 over here in the States. When Final Fantasy 2 came over, that was kind of a big deal to me, and I was actually at the time more of a fan of Final Fantasy 2 than I was of 3. I played through 3 and it was like, okay, that's okay. But I think I played through in like the worst timeline possible, where I didn't have the right characters and the wrong characters died, and it's just like, that was okay. And I kind of rediscovered that later in life, where Final Fantasy 3 is so engaging and the story is so good.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy 2 also killer story.
Not only that, but I totally feel like 3, it's neck and neck for me, but I feel like 3 almost has the best soundtrack as well. Like 3 just slam dunks on every single one.
Oh, even the opera is good.
Dude. Yeah. We talked about this probably last time.
Yeah.
When you and me were talking about overrated games. Or underrated games maybe, I don't know, but this came up, and the opera scene is... I mean, in my mind, it's like one of the most legendary scenes in a video game.
Right.
I mean,
just in case you forgot.
Yeah, sorry, I've still got that. I've just been leaving that there. And here's the thing. X Shifty Wolf says that there's an order to play Final Fantasy. I don't think there is. I don't personally think that you need to play one in order to enjoy the series.
Correct.
And in fact, I don't think you have to play any of them to enjoy the series. I mean, whatever floats your boat, because most of them hold their own weight on their own, obviously. Like, some people think 9 is amazing. I'm not a huge fan of it. I prefer 8 over 9.
Yes.
But then 10 is pretty solid. But then, and in so many ways, they're not even really comparable, other than some, like, common themes, common names, common stuff like that. You know, common mechanics, obviously.
Right.
But... I don't know. It's really hard for me to say. I mean, if you want to play in order, I don't know if there is one that really matters. I think you could pick any single one and just jump in. I'd say shoot for 7 just because you have the widest array of gameplay, in my personal opinion.
I can see that, yeah.
I do think that the battles are pretty, like, not as thorough. Like, that's why I like 3.
Yeah, the mechanics are not as well dialed in 7 as they are on 3. Mm-hmm. And as someone points out, Final Fantasy 3 on Super NES was my fave. I loved Kefka as a villain. Yeah. Name me a better video game villain. He was maniacal and mad, kind of like the Joker set in Final Fantasy time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the dude committed genocide on a village just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Dagathur from Morrowind, comes to mind. Let's see who. What else can I name?
Yeah.
That's all I have. I was just going for the laugh.
It was a good laugh. You got me laughing. Chrono Trigger was also epic. I fully agree with that. But
Chrono Cross was great too.
Chrono Cross was good. It was very good.
It had like 47 different characters that you could get on your team.
Yep. Legend of Dragoon for PlayStation.
Yeah, you know, that was such an interesting one. I was thinking back because to me it felt like such a staple of the PS1. And I played so much of it, yet it, like, people don't really talk about it as much. Mm-hmm. But the game was so interesting, and the story was interesting, and the world was interesting. And yeah.
Yep. Hello from Norway. Hello, Sandra. How's it going?
Hello.
Hello from Oregon.
Welcome.
We
are from the Norway of the United States.
Are we? I think it's Alaska.
No, you're right. If you're thinking climate, it's definitely like Alaska or maybe like somewhere in the Midwest.
If you're thinking population and land mass, we're about equal.
I was thinking just like politics and like culture.
Yeah, but this beer is 5.2%. Sorry.
Sorry, Sandra.
Yep. Secret of Mana?
Sandra. Yeah, Secret of Mana was great.
Yep.
Dude, there's so many good ones.
Besides Morrowind, what's the one game you would want to go back and play for the first time?
Maybe like Metal Gear Solid or like...
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Metal Gear Solid 1 is like in my top 5. Mm-hmm. The gameplay was like super awesome for a kid, obviously. But I literally... It made me feel, A, really awesome at video games, B, like super smart, like sitting there, and I know that sounds so pretentious, but for like a middle school kid to sit there and play through this game and like listen through the dialogue and piece the story together and see like how the story weaves, I felt so smart.
Yeah.
I felt so awesome. And then it's like you find out that like all of the soldiers you're fighting are clones, and the bad guy is a clone of you, and you're a clone of the... Not that they're a clone of you, but you're all a clone of the same person. It's like, dude. Oh, dude. And then he says Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 blew me away.
So good.
Oh, my God.
Those elevator rides.
Oh, shut up.
Right there every time.
Dude. Mass Effect 1 blew me away, and I was like, this is how you make games.
But no, it absolutely did. I fully agree with Mass Effect. I would totally go Mass Effect.
Dude, there's a few that now that you're throwing out, and I was going straight for that nostalgia vibe, but like, dude, Mass Effect 1 really, I thought, like, nailed the formula for like modern RPG. Like,
yes. I wasn't necessarily going for like a nostalgia vibe, because there's a lot of games to me that have a lot of nostalgic ties to them.
Yeah,
that I've played them again and they don't hold up.
Yeah.
And for some reason I felt some way about them. That I don't anymore. I have a deep nostalgia for One Must Fall.
Yeah.
The old robot fighter game.
Yeah.
For DOS. I spent hours and days with that game, and while I think it still kind of holds up, it doesn't really hold up. It's still fun.
Yeah.
But it's fun for me because it's nostalgic. I don't think it's fun for me because it was a great game or a great experience or a great story.
And that's the thing. If you can play it again for the first time, a lot of these games aren't going to hold up compared to modern games. So like we're taking some liberties here. But yeah, I'll stand by Metal Gear Solid 1. I'll throw in like Gothic 1. That game blew me away. And then when the second one came out, I was like, this world is huge. It's even bigger than the first one. How did they fit all this in here?
One that I would like to go back and play again for the first time is Thief Dark Project.
Oh my!
The original
God.
Thief is going back to that because that is the first and probably one of the only games that has actually made me terrified. Now, I had a pretty good set of headphones back in the day, and I had a creative AOE 32 sound card, and so I had the true stereo thing going on in my headphones. And I remember playing this at like 1 a.m, and I had a guard in my sights with the arrow, and I let it fly, and I just barely missed him. Like, ching, 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 and went on, what was that? And went on. Well, for those who don't know, Thief was the one that kind of pioneered AI as far as not only will I start looking for you, but I don't go, must have just been the wind, and put the sword away. Is now my guard is a little bit spooked. I will comb the area, but if I can't find you, I will go find other guards and bring them back and search that area for you. And so I remember 1 a.m, wearing the headphones, pitch black room, 800 by 600 CRT in front of me. And I've got this guard in my sights, and I let it fly, and I just barely miss him. Ka-chink! And he goes, what was that? And he draws his sword, and he's looking around for me. And I'm crouching in the shadows. And I'll find you! And he starts looking around and whatnot. And then he goes, over here! I need help! And he runs away. And he comes back with 4 more guards. Yeah. And I remember crouching in these shadows, and I've got the headphones on, and I'm listening to these guards walk around me. And I'm just crouched. And I'm terrified because they're probably going to find me. Yeah. And I don't have a hope in the world of killing 4 guards in this game. So if they find me, I'm going to die. If I can sneak away from them, I might live. Yeah. And so I remember this, watching the guard movements, like 2 up on the wall and 1 down here and 1 over in the shadows over here, and trying to figure out a way to get out of this situation. And it was that one moment that just like burned into my memory.
And those are the best.
Absolutely the best.
And what's fun is I had a lot of time at the beginning of the summer to sort of figure out. I had a lot of time to play games, and I started thinking of ways that I could really sort of like recreate those moments that are like burned into your memory as like these nostalgic, right? And I kind of boiled down for me like what a few of those things were, and it's like and it's the immersion, and it's a couple other things. But I think one of the most important ones that we overlook now is this ability to take ownership of the game. Yeah. And I think one of the things that takes away from that is the ability to just hop on and look up anything you want online anymore. And
I think you're totally right.
And for me, I started rediscovering this when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I was enjoying the game so much more than a couple of my friends playing it at the same time, but it was because I was letting myself explore and discover things on accident.
Yes.
I wasn't looking it up. And I was just going with the flow of the game. And if something happened, I wasn't
wherever
reloading.
Something leads me, that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly. And, dude, you want to talk about modern game I wish I could replay for the first time, dude? I wish I could experience the ending of Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not even ashamed to admit, I've said it on the show before, I cried at the end. And then my wife walked in from running errands, and she's like, are you okay? What's wrong? And I was like, I can't believe it. And she's like, it's okay. My wife literally comforted me at the end of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Dude, so you get a different set of circumstances depending on what your bond level is with your horse.
Yeah. Don't even go.
Now here's the deal. I mean, the game's been out a year now. I can kind of talk about this. Spoilers if you haven't played, if you're waiting for the PC release.
Oops.
But if you're the kind of guy who goes through horses like he goes through boots, then you're not going to have a real strong bond with your horse, and whatnot. And so you get to the end, and your horse is shot out from under you, and you just kind of kick him to the curb, and you go. My first playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2, I had 1 horse that was shot out from under me in the first hour of gameplay, because I got in a little bit over my head and thought I was a little cocky, and I was doing an evil playthrough too. Yeah. I maxed out my honor slider, but in the wrong direction. So I'm going this very, very evil playthrough of a character, a very evil Arthur. And but I only ever had the 1 horse shot out from under me. My horse almost died a couple of times. It almost drowned in water. I managed to save him. Or her, excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. Daisy.
Mine was Brandy.
Brandy, that's a good one. Yeah, mine was Daisy. You're a good girl.
Good girl.
Good girl. But almost drowned a couple of times.
Yeah.
Was shot out from under me once, and I managed to get back on her and save her and mend her back to health and everything. Yeah. And so I went like 40 hours with the same horse. Yeah. And I had a bond with Daisy. And whatnot, and in the ending, dude, that broke my heart.
I was almost like, I just can't.
Yeah.
I like paused it for a second. I was like,
because of that cutscene, you know,
give me a goddamn minute.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. I wish I could just go through for the emotional beats.
Yes.
And there were some moments that were like truly just spectacular to me in that game, like
yes.
the Lenny mission at the very beginning. At that moment, I realized I was playing a truly magical game.
Yes.
And then one of the other lines I loved is when you get down to Lemoyne. I think it's Lemoyne.
Yeah.
And in the Act 2. And Dutch is like, oh yeah, the sheriff's come and get you, and they want you to go and get the bootleggers from the swamp, you know. And
yeah.
They're like, yeah, well, they're bootlegging and doing all this stuff, and they ain't paying their taxes. And Dutch looks at you and he's like, so we're gonna get us some damn tax dodgers. And he just winks at Arthur or whatever. I was like, yeah, like was a magical moment to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many good ones in that.
What was so good about Red Dead Redemption 2 is so much of the gang dies.
Yeah.
A lot of them die.
Yeah.
Or are cast off or kicked out or whatever the circumstances be. There's never a pomp and circumstance for them. There's never a mourning period or anything else. The one that sticks out in my mind was
Sean was a big one for
Sean.
me. Where I was just like, oh, that's it?
Yeah. You're walking through the middle of town, you're ambushed, and he's running over to you, and that's the last you hear or see or talk about Sean. Other than and Sean, God damn it, I'm done talking about Sean.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And it's like, he's just dead. And he's laying in a ditch somewhere.
I did find his grave.
And that's it.
I did find his grave.
Yeah.
Trying to find all the graves.
Yep.
Without looking it up. It's taking ownership.
Yes.
That's how we got here.
Yes.
And
taking ownership.
Red Dead was one of those games that just, you feel as though... Yeah, you had a stake in the game. It felt like your secret world.
Nearly every Rockstar game is on my list of games I want to play again for the first time.
Yeah.
GTA 5, you get to the very ending. It's a setup. It's a setup. It's a setup. You know, you get through that ending beat. It's so good.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Those are both on my list. As far as games, God, I wish I could just experience that again for the first time.
Ocarina of Time for me would be another
Ocarina
one.
of Time's on there. Breath of the Wild.
I haven't played it.
Oh, really?
I don't have a Switch.
Well, do you have something in store for you?
I know. I came really close to getting a Switch the other day.
You can hardly wait for the PC release, right?
Yeah. At this point, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be out by the time I'm getting around to the first one. But
you guys looking forward to Halo on PC? Absolutely, I will be buying the Halo Master Chief Collection on PC as soon as it's released.
You want to talk about epic title, dude.
Yeah.
Talk about the entire third act of that Halo game.
My bachelor party, I had a Halo LAN party at my house.
Of course you did.
That's how I spent it.
Dude, yeah, Spider-Man made me cry too, man. I was not ready for that. I cry at a lot of things. I'm not ashamed to admit. But, yeah, Spider-Man was really emotional. But yeah, dude, the whole third act of that was like the Halo game. I was like, oh, you can have a first-person shooter with an epic storyline, and one that is like not corny, not whatever. Like no, epic, balls to the wall, hard science fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the whole like fleeing from the Pillar of Autumn at the end on the Warthog, dude, you feel like a bad.
That one's so good.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of other games that are on my list of like phenomenal games, like the original Descent. I played that like nothing else.
Yep.
I have good memories of playing that game, but I don't know that I'd need to play it again for the first time. It's a solid game. The story didn't strike like an emotional chord with me.
No, it's just
I didn't have an ownership of the
memories
main character. I just have a lot of good memories playing it with friends, and that's where that one sits for me.
Dude, there's some games that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros.
Right.
Dude, I have so many, like, a game... Yeah, Unreal Tournament 2004. I played like 500 hours in that damn game. Yeah, no emotional beats, none of that. No, but great memories playing Capture the Flag or Deathmatch with my buddies. Like, dude.
Blood Gulch.
Yeah. All about Blood Gulch.
Where boys became men.
Well, we're about 10 minutes over. We could keep going about the nostalgia games all day, but
I think that's a great place to end it.
I challenge you all, if you're having trouble picking out a game, shrink your Steam library, your installs. Right now, I got 3 games installed, and I'm never going to have more than 5, I think. I used to be that person with 50 games installed at one point, never played them. You want to get back, I think that was the first step for me to getting back into what it was like for me as a kid, because you had fewer options.
Yes.
So now I got 3 games installed, and I play the hell out of them. And I'm having a great time, and it just reminds me of being a kid, having few options, and it's like, rainy day, what do I play? Well, here's my choices. So that's my challenge to y'all before we sign off tonight.
That's a great way to put it. I went down to just a couple games installed on my streaming rig here. I've been playing actually a lot of Rocket League lately.
Dude, Rocket League is solid.
So fun.
Dude, we should play.
I
don't have it on PC, but it cross platforms.
It does.
We could do like a closed room. My brother and I play like almost every night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm gonna sit down for like a half hour and play something, it's Rocket League.
Oh yeah, it's perfect for that.
Yeah, it's all I have, and it's like, oh yeah, I can throw a couple 5-minute matches on there and just jump online and do a couple things. Yeah. So no, it's a good time. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for Red Dead Redemption 2 to come out on PC. Even though I already played through it on Xbox One, I'm gonna play it again on PC, and I'm really hoping it makes another great benchmark title, because I'd love to be able to play it when I'm benchmarking games. Yeah. So, anyway, this has been it for episode 102 on Talking Heads. Thank you so much for joining us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. And make sure to subscribe, won't you? Okay, stupid. Anyway, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Check out Rhett over on Game Devs Quest. Link is down in the video description. Also follow him on Twitter at RhettIsAwesome and also at Game Devs Quest.
That's me.
Lots of great stuff over there. You have any game jams coming up by any chance?
We're working on it. We're working on it. Hopefully things going well. We'll be having some soon, but we're going to Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
That's right.
This weekend, we're going to be interviewing some fun folks over there. So if you're into game dev, anything like that, come check us out. And we're going to be covering Portland Retro Gaming Expo soon.
Excellent. So yeah, stay tuned for that over on Game Devs Quest. Hopefully Craft Computing will get back to a somewhat normal schedule here very quickly. I do have a video coming out this weekend, and I've got a couple in the pipeline as well. So I know content's been a little slow. House buying's kind of a pain in the butt. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this one, and as always, we will see you next week.
Cheers all.
Later.